Now, seeing it resurrect, he wants to kill it. He wants it dead again. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu starts. I was taken aback last week as I read General Museveni, who has been a central figure in the Uganda's political and economic turmoil for over 60 years, boasting about supposedly reviving the coffee industry through Operation Wealth Creation. He criticized the Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA, for doing nothing with courts, for doing nothing despite countless testimonies from coffee farmers across the country who attest to UCDA's support. But this isn't surprising. Operation Wealth Creation is led by his brother and heavily funded. True to character, General Museveni will always claim credit for himself or his family for anything that goes well in Uganda, while apportioning blame to others for everything that goes wrong. Key 1. In the things that His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is pointing out. Key 1. Dismantling cooperative support system. Regarding coffee, General Museveni's regime oversaw policies that led to the collapse of this coffee sector, including dismantling Coffee Marketing Board and other cooperative societies that once bolstered it. When his government assumed power in 1986, it could have enhanced the Coffee Marketing Board's efficiency. Instead, he chose privatization, leading to a cheap sale of its assets for only 6 billion shillings, although they were initially valued at 33 billion. After 38 years in power, his government has done nothing for the coffee sector, except selling off the Coffee Marketing Board's assets as if Ugandans had stopped growing coffee. Assets for other entities such as Banyankole Kweterana were taken over or bought cheaply by his close relatives. It is widely known that some of the Coffee Marketing Board's assets were given away to Museveni's so-called investors as he pleased. Can he account to Ugandans for why he privatized the Coffee Marketing Board, an institution that was overseeing a sector, employing many Ugandans and governing the country's top foreign exchange earnings? Can he explain what was done with the revenue from those sales to develop the sector? Can he explain what was done with the revenue from those sales to develop the sector? 2. Decades of neglect. The coffee sector left underfunded. General Museveni should not mislead Ugandans into thinking his government has been committed to growing the coffee sector. For most of his tenure, the coffee industry remained severely underfunded. Since its establishment in 1991 until recently, the UDA operated mainly on a 1% export levy. Only in 2013, after 27 years in power, did the regime make any significant investments in the sector, launching a populist initiative called Operation Wealth Creation after the 2011 elections. The program aimed at distributing agricultural inputs such as seeds and coffee seedlings. And coffee seedlings were eventually abandoned after 5 years, tainted by corruption. Soldiers tasked with distributing seedlings were instructed to source from nursery operators they barely knew, with no means of identifying legitimate farmers. As a result, coffee farmers remained unprepared to re-engage in production. This critical role had once been handled effectively by the cooperative societies that Museveni dismantled when he came to power. 3. UCDA's coffee roadmap and budget cuts. The UCDA introduced a policy called Coffee Roadmap, CRPM, targeting an increase in production from 4.7 million bags to 20 million bags by 2030. Sorry, brothers and sisters, I repeat. UCDA's coffee roadmap and budget cuts. The UCDA introduced a policy called Coffee Roadmap, targeting an increase in production from 4.7 million bags to 20 million bags by 2030, while aiming to triple the income of small-scale coffee farmers. Despite endorsing the policy in 2017, General Museveni's government has refused to fund it as projected. Since 2019, the UCDA has faced budget cuts. How can he then claim to be committed to the sector? His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu asks. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is asking, how can he say then that he is committed to developing the sector? In the value addition rhetoric, in 2021, as coffee prices began rising and UCDA raised its export levy from 1% to 2%, Mr. Museveni's family, with its notorious appetite for wealth, moved in, as they have with other lucrative industries like vanilla, fish, gold, and other resources. Museveni justified this by claiming he was promoting value addition in coffee, though he had been in power for nearly 4 decades without such an initiative. Imagine if genuine value addition efforts had begun in 1987, instead of driving coffee market boards to officially inflate prices from 24 shillings to 29 shillings, which caused many societies to default on payment to farmers. If this government had supported the coffee marketing body's efforts to process coffee back then, Uganda could have revived Nescafe. General Museveni seems to overlook that if he hadn't sold off the coffee processing factories in Bogolobi, Uganda would probably be earning more from its coffee than Germany or France. Enter Erika Pinetti, the controversial Erika Pinetti. Instead of partnering with the established players like Oram, Yugakov, Kyagulanyi, Ibero, and Kawacom, to shift away from exporting raw green beans, Museveni brought in an unqualified investor, Erica Pennett, to produce instant coffee under Vince Coffee, without any experience in the industry. When he finally considered building a coffee factory rather than empowering the Bugishu Cooperative Union and other experienced entities, or establishing factories in major coffee producing regions, he handed over more than 100 billion shillings in taxpayers' money to a family friend to build a facility in Ntungamo, while General Museveni accuses those of us advocating for a well-regulated coffee sector of being anti-rationalization crusaders. We will continue to urge that Uganda deserves a government that recognizes coffee as a sector with a potential to uplift millions of Ugandans, not just those in Buganda, but across coffee-growing regions. The coffee industry needs an independent regulator focused on promoting both quality and quantity. Fifth, the Ministry of Agriculture's credibility. The Ministry of Agriculture's credibility. General Museveni's Ministry of Agriculture lacks credibility, weighed down by a legacy of failures with products like fish, tea, maize, sugar canes, and vanilla. All once significant resource of income for Ugandans. Placing coffee under the ministry would be tantamount to repeating the disastrous privatization of marketing boards. Uganda's real vision, rationalization without excess. General Museveni must understand that Uganda do not oppose a lean government. In fact, Uganda seek an efficient government with a small parliament, fewer cabinet ministers, and fewer presidential advisors and commissioners. This vision was outlined in the NUP's 2021 manifesto. We aim to end the bloated, ineffective public service that General Museveni has fostered, with the new agencies duplicating the rules of existing institutions. For instance, while the Inspectorate of Government, the Ministry of Health, the Uganda Revenue Authority, the Uganda Investment Authority, and the Ministry of Lands already exists, Museveni has created parallel units within State Housing, within State House, granting them enormous budgets to monitor or duplicate their work. Although the IGG is constitutionally mandated to fight corruption, the State House Anti-Corruption Unit has been given the most power to carry out this function. It is Museveni who, in addition to RDCs and deputy RDCs, recently added the position of assistant RDCs, all imposing a significant burden in the taxpayer. How can Museveni then claim to be an advocate of rationalization with the courts? Instead of branding those who support UCDA as criminals, he should explain why he presided over such an oversized government with a dismal service delivery. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu continues to point out the need to preserve UCDA as a strategic institution. Of course, the root issue here is impunity. And surprisingly, Museveni's ministry and spokespersons have tried to intimidate citizens into silence, declaring that regardless of public opinion, the government will have the final word, but a responsible government would listen to and consult key players in the coffee value chain rather than imposing decisions ultimately. Instead of enforcing Museveni's outdated ideas, the government should have sought input from stakeholders like those managing the Buganda Kingdom's Emwanyi Terimba Initiative, the Bugishu Cooperative Union, and others. Nothing speaks of dictatorship more than watching a regime push a bill opposed by coffee exporters, traders, and processors, and the few remaining farmers' cooperatives. Brothers and sisters, that is a message which was posted by His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu on his page, showing that Mr. Museveni, from get-go, never wanted Ugandans to flourish in any given business. This is the man who disbanded Cooperative Union as well outlined by His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Uganda's most esteemed leader, Uganda's vision bearer, and most importantly, God's anointed one. He pointed out that Mr. Museveni, from get-go, he never wanted the Ugandans to upgrade their lives. You can see what's happening in the parliament really takes us back to the event of introducing new entrants in the field of leadership. We can see that His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, in this short period of time he has spent in the political arena, he is initiating and establishing the things which were said by those who fought prior to his being on the surface of the earth, namely Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara, in his philosophy, he said that patriotism without political education turns a soldier into a potential criminal. Those are the words of Thomas Sankara. He said that patriotism without political education turns a soldier into a potential criminal. We can see that Museveni have accustomed Ugandans that whenever there is something he wants to take, he deploy heavily on the parliament, and they whisk away those they fear the most, namely Zakebutebi. We don't know what's happening to our leader of alternative government, alternative business in the parliament, a representative of Nakawa West, and a spokesperson of National Unity Platform. We don't know what's happening with him. According to the message he sent to fellow Ugandans yesterday, that they are to stand their ground to show Museveni that Uganda, it is not yours. Uganda, it is not governed by military. Uganda, it must be governed by a constitution. By constitution. So His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he showed the world that we are determined, that we are not going anywhere because we are producing futuristic leaders. The foot soldiers, they shouldn't be left without political enlightenment. They fulfilled that exactly that There is no soldier should be left as a soldier without the sense how to behave in the society. That a real soldier should defer orders which are contrary to the Constitution. That a soldier must be enlightened in the political aspiration, meaning that a soldier is under the Constitution, because a soldier, he gets his salary from taxpayers' money. Those very people of whom Museveni sends soldier to persecute. You understand, brothers and sisters? This is a symbolic leadership we have been yearning for the past 40 years. It is in our midst that a young man train other young men. He is not driven by materialism, no. He could show, he have shown us, Ugandans, that leadership, it is to serve, not to become an inheritance. No, it is not inherited. People contest. They present their ideology, as he stated, that which was supposed to be done by Museveni to upgrade UCDA. It was well indicated in the manifesto of 2021 presented to Ugandans by National Unity Platform. Brothers and sisters, this is NUP, which is fronting a real resistance in the parliament. As we speak right now, the parliament of Uganda is under siege. We appeal on to the Pan-African Parliament to hold Museveni accountable for all these injustices. We are appealing on to the East African Parliament to hold Museveni and all his lady administration accountable for abusing constitutional rights, for trying to deprive the people of the Republic of Uganda their inalienable rights. We are appealing on to all the governments on the continent of Africa that Mr. Museveni, he wants to turn Uganda as a family business, of which we are not going to accept. We are appealing on to all global leaders to hold Museveni accountable. We inform you that Museveni is preparing to take on power by force, as he is doing right now. The people of Uganda have showed Museveni, and His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu indicated it here, that Museveni shouldn't enforce his understanding on coffee. Why didn't he consult the stakeholders, coffee exporters, coffee processors, and the farmers themselves? Why didn't he consult those? Why doesn't he consult Bugisu coffee growers, Banyankole Kweterana? He just removed the body, but the people who are doing or running those, cooperative societies, respectively, are still there. Mr. Museveni, what you disbanded, it was just a name at that time, but the people are still here. If it was dismantled, it wouldn't be recited by His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. And that this goes on to remind us that the moment he assumed office, when we done away with your dictator Museveni, all of these things, they will be, nullified, because they are not being established under the rule of law. They are all being established forcefully. Mr. Museveni, that should be born in your mind. Dear brothers and sisters, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, speaking of the manifesto of National Unity Platform, they came up with the Code 4, the Code A. Code A, each A represents a sector, vital sectors. The sectors or departments that stabilize a country's economy and the social stability. He talked about those societies that they were boosting the economy to be robust. But Museveni did not like that. So the 4 A's within the manifesto of National Unity Platform states that 1A, it is for agriculture. Another A, it is for arts. Another A, it is for academics. Another A, it is for athletics. You understand? Brothers and sisters, let us try to dissect one by one. Now, we start with agriculture. Tell me, if Kyagulanyi Ssentamu had assumed office 4 years ago, as we had mandated him, still we're demanding our victory, mind you, brothers and sisters, that shouldn't be out of your minds in all that we do. In all that we do. In all that we do, Ugandans, we are demanding our victory. So, the first A, if Kyagulanyi and his led administration were delivering services to Ugandans, you can imagine where farmers would have been right now. You could say, I can imagine how Kyagulanyi wouldn't have spent even a minute in soliciting for marketing, in restoring all these marketing boards of which Museveni disbanded intentionally. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu would, invest money. He have pointed out that ever Museveni captured the power, the agricultural sector, it has been underfunded. Yet the budget, the money passes there. It is passed by parliamentarians to go facilitate the activities of agriculture. But that money does not reach there. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he pointed out that while Museveni purporting to be creating, those kind of schematic deals like wealth creation, like Mwenamu Gagawale, you remember all those nonsensical. If they were real, and they were going to be invested, actually Museveni cannot do anything in the betterment of the people of Uganda. He wouldn't have dismantled cooperative banks, because those were the banks that farmers could access. He captured all those banks and he confiscated all the land titles of the farmers who were receiving money from the bank, because they have to leave security there. You all know how banking system works. When you want a loan, you have to leave either land title or anything in security. You understand? So these cooperative banks used to give farmers money and they cultivate their land on a large scale. If it wasn't Museveni's, to come into power, we would be competing. We would be supplying Europe with fresh produce. We would be supplying South Africa with fresh produce. But Museveni, he is the hindrance of all Uganda's aspirations, nobody else. That is the first A of National Unity Platform 4A's, agriculture. There is no way you can tell me that maize in Uganda was just out of the market of Kenya because of its poor quality. Poor quality. When Museveni apportioned his son-in-law, Odrick Rwabog, millions, billions of shillings that he should teach Ugandans how to drink coffee. You can imagine these individuals that they are not afraid what Ugandans will say to their proposals. You understand? They continue to bring them before us. Why would somebody be given money to teach Ugandans how to drink coffee? You mean we are not drinking coffee prior to Museveni's capturing of our power? We are drinking coffee. But we know exactly that all of these ones is to show us that you are weak. You cannot do anything. But we see, and time is moving on. Time is moving on. Mr. Museveni, you know for a fact that whatever you planned, all that you've been planning, it is in vain, Mr. Museveni. It is in vain. You are not going to achieve anything. And you're going to die a miserable, old, wicked man. There won't be any remembrance of you. The only wounds you are living with us, we will treat the wounds. 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 We will rebuild our country. We will rebuild our economy. After all, we have just leaders there on pending, Museveni. if it wasn't your guns, Mr. Museveni, we would be going far. It will take us a long time to revive the economy of Uganda. It will take us a long time to revive the social, stability of Uganda. It will take us a long time to revive the education sector of Uganda. It will take us a long time to revive the agriculture sector. It will take us a long time to revive all cash crops. But we will revive them. We will revive them because we are skillful. And most importantly, God imparted the knowledge within native Ugandans how to turn things into productivity. Museveni, you can attest to that. People of Africa, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and his led administration continued with a second A. That is academics. That is academics. As we speak right now, in the sphere of academics, in the higher learning institutions, people are starving. We see on the news, in Chambogo University, Makerere University, students are found dead in their hostels, because of starvation. Because of starvation. Because of starvation. When their parents pay tax in all their businesses, they pay tax. The Uganda has no tax defaulters because you cannot hide. You cannot hide from Uganda Revenue Authority, which is headed by Museveni's tribal people. So is every single sector. Every single sector. This is the tribalism we are talking about, we are complaining about, that Museveni appoint people who are incompetent into key positions because of their willingness to bend the law. Museveni himself said that in castigating Obote, that all men of integrity are left on the bench. Mr. Museveni does not leave men of integrity on the bench. He brings them together in that he poisons them. He does not leave them there. If he coerces you and you refuse, he makes sure that he eliminates you. That is what he does. Now these ones who are willing to bend the law to meet his dictates, those ones are being protected. Those, the likes of Anita Among, the likes of Matthias Mpuga, the likes of Charles Peter Maiga, the likes of Medard Lubega Segona, those ones are well protected. The likes of Samu Junganda, those ones are well protected. Those ones are well protected. The likes of Elias Lukwago, those ones are well protected. My brothers and sisters, look at the kids at the university, young men who went there to extract knowledge, but they cannot study. They cannot study. Museveni receives supplementary budget. Members of parliament grant him that. The same, very same members of parliament have been molesting our constitution from get-go. These very members of parliament who are pretending that Museveni have switched off the lights, that they will pass the bill in the darkness. We know for the fact that Museveni, according to the information we received, yes, welcome back, Honorable Francis Zake is live on the internet right here. I've seen a notification. I hope he's doing all right. Welcome back, soldier. Welcome back, soldier. Welcome back, soldier. Welcome back, soldier. The battle is on. The battle is on, brothers and sisters. Plato reminded us that only the dead know the end of war. Only the dead know the end of war. Brothers and sisters, the war, it is ongoing in Uganda. It is a psychological war. It is a verbal war. It is a psychological war, brothers and sisters. They do whatever they do to instill fear in your conscious minds. They captured every single sector. National Unity Platform, summarized in those 4 A's. They captured every single one of those. They captured every single one of those. Education system. vital as it is to impart knowledge of the future of Uganda. Well, how are they going to learn physics, sophisticated as it is, when they are hungry? They cannot grasp what they are being taught. Mr. Museveni, when will you be shameful? When will you be shameful? At least for your offspring, not you, at least for your offspring. Because whatever you do, you said you are doing it for your great-grandchildren. You are not doing it for Ugandans. You understand? We are saying you have got more than enough to sustain your great-grandchildren if they are smart enough to accumulate or to multiply what you have planted from Uganda. And mind you, that which you steal, it can serve you for a moment of time. Mr. Museveni, you are not quite sure whether all the spoil you have invested in Angola, in Chile, in Europe, that your children will feast on that one. No. I'll remind you that the UK government returned hundreds of millions of pounds left on the account of their former leader. I think it was Olusegun. Who was it? There is a dictator in Nigeria who died, and the UK returned all that money to Nigeria. Now I can picture a poor Museveni, a former refugee, who had nothing. That is that is the problem that is tormenting Mr. Museveni. Why would you want to own the entire country? Who are you? Who are you, Mr. Museveni? How comes that you own entire country and you cannot even walk on the street freely like Idi Amin did? Idi Amin used to ride the bicycle. Idi Amin used to compete in swimming. Idi Amin used to kick ball freely. Idi Amin used to participate into boxing. But Mr. Museveni, you are not even talented. You people, you are not known, to participate in anything in society. You are not good in economics, you would say. You are not even in military. It wasn't you, Mr. Museveni. We have seen each and everything. They have briefed us. People who fought. But Museveni, wabakubanga sumagiza. You guys, you are not known in any field that is comprehensible to a human being. No. If somebody talk about a refugee from Rwanda, what else are you known for? Apart from the genocide of which you created yourself. You and your fellow dictator right there. Okay? We know exactly everything is online, Mr. Museveni. Mr. Museveni, there is nothing else that you excel in. Nothing else. There is nothing that you can excel in. Brothers and sisters, give me an example. Museveni's sycophants, Flankabaine, whatever their name nonsensical is, they cannot do anything. They can't. Mr. Museveni, you just take away your guns and let the Ugandans work. You will see how they surpass you. How they surpass every single one of your sycophant and every single one of your offspring when it comes to business, entrepreneurship, and the resilience to pursue and to accumulate money. Mr. Museveni, you just free the economy. You will see that we are different from you, apart from the dark complexion that keeps us together. Apart from that, our mental faculties differ. There is nothing that brings you with us. No. Emioga. That word. Emioga. That word. You're giving us the Tigriani words to be accepted in our society. You think we don't know your lineage? We know where to trust you, Mr. Museveni. Rwanda is not your country. No, we know each and everything. Mr. Museveni, don't you think that being in Uganda for those years, we knew exactly, the more you persecute us, the more we research, who is this man? Where is his origin? That nomadism, the nomadism you brought in Uganda, it won't work. Your time erupts on the 14th January, year 2021, Mr. Museveni. Dear brothers and sisters, We are reviving the second A by marching to parliament. We are reviving the first A, that is agriculture, by marching to parliament. We are reviving the second A by marching to parliament. That is, we are ousting Janet Museveni out of our education sector, out of our education department, out of our education ministry. Brothers and sisters, let us march to parliament more. Let us march to parliament more. We are marching to parliament to revive our art industry. Art. His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu reminded us by reciting the words of the renowned civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr., who said that a generation without its art, it is incomplete. So in those 4 A's, there is a 4 of art. So art is broad. Brothers and sisters, art is very broad. Even an agriculturalist uses art to cultivate a land. Even a livestock keeper uses art to cultivate a land. They use art to do a paddock farming. They can portion their land, and they say, when these cows are feeding here or are grazing here, let me barricade the other side. That is art. So we are reviving the art. So in Museveni's family, there is no artistic output that comes. No, there is no artistic output. There is no academician who is prominent in the society. There is no agriculturalist who is prominent in the society. They are seated on our 4 A's. They are seated on our 4 A's. When the artists are saying we need our rights, we need, what is this thing called? We need to earn from our artistic knowledge. When we put them on record, when we put them out there, we need to earn. What we want is the constitution to legislate the bill's law. You understand? They cannot earn because their music has no right. They cannot earn. Mr. Museveni, you are seated on artists. You are seated on agriculturalists. Now you are persecuting an independent body. An independent body, UCDA, Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Mr. Museveni, what do you want from Ugandans? What wrong did they do to feed you freely as you were, Mr. Museveni? Mr. Museveni, yesterday I was listening to teacher Kajubirumbuye of LBS. He posed a question saying that to all you elderly people who were there prior to us, and to all of us who know a place where Museveni used to live prior to taking our house, our country. Mr. Museveni, you did not have a plot of land. Right now, you want to own the whole country. You want to kill Ssaabasajja Kabaka so that you take the whole land, the entire land of Buganda. Mr. Museveni, all of the things you are doing, you are just bringing a heavy reproach upon your offspring. Museveni, you are a curse to us Ugandans. Museveni, you are a demon in our midst. Mr. Museveni, speaking of demons, brothers and sisters, this Museveni we are seeing here, who is seated on our 4 A's, the 4 A's which were introduced in the manifesto of National Unity Platform. These are the A's we want to act upon. Museveni, leave agriculture being the first A. Uganda's agriculture, it is the bedrock of Uganda's economy. Not that Ugandans don't have knowledge to produce things. No, we do have knowledge. But Mr. Museveni, you are the hindrance in all industrialists. You are driving them out of business. We see them dying, mysteriously. Mulwana group of company, where are they? The companies are there, but you all bought shares out of them forcefully. I remember Teacher Kajubirumbuye told us that That lady who pioneered in funeral services, Uganda funeral services, your wife, Janet Museveni, went asking for shares in that company. When she refused, you did away with her during COVID. We know each and everything. You people, Sembule, you persecuted them. You persecuted them. Eventually, they died out of stress. People who had started in full gear, assembling bicycles, assembling TVs, assembling radio set. Don't you think by now Uganda would be producing LEDs? Hey, Mr. Museveni, how evil are you, old man? How evil are you, old man? And all yours, how evil are you? At this time, 38 years, when Uganda was assembling radios, TVs, 30 years ago, 30 years ago, Mr. Museveni, you killed all those people, Mr. Museveni. You didn't have a piece of land, Mr. Museveni. You were a refugee, Mr. Museveni. The punishment that brought you into Uganda, it erupted on the 14th of January. It was a punishment by the Most High. We don't know who committed the crime that the Lord resulted to punish us. But whatever it was, we have been asking for forgiveness from God Almighty. And we know the ways of God Almighty are different from our ways. The struggle is moving slowly but surely. Museveni, you are going out of our political institutions. We cannot fail by all means, Mr. Museveni. We are still talking. We are still talking. We are still talking. We shall continue to talk. But when push comes to solve, Mr. Museveni, that is when we're going to reach on a dead end, whereby we have to turn and face you. To face you, Mr. Museveni. You are molesting our coffee right now, Mr. Museveni. Mr. Museveni, give us peace. Give us freedom. Give us peace. Give us freedom. Mr. Museveni, you killed a lot of people in Irwell, saying that it was Obote's people. Obote never killed people the way you did. His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he said that you have been a key figure in sabotaging Uganda's economy and social stability for over 70 years, from the 60s up to now. Mr. Museveni, you have 95 years. Most of your time, 70 years, you have spent it killing Ugandans. Mr. Museveni, we trace all the high-profile murderers, cases in those two respective regimes, of which you were there. We trace all those murderous deeds on you because you held a very, very brutal organization by then known as State Research, which is equivalent to CMI or ESO. It was responsible for kidnapping and torture people. These are the same things that you do exactly because you are used to that. Mr. Museveni and your 27 men, you have rendered the people of Uganda as a disgrace. You have killed us. You have destroyed our brothers and sisters. Museveni, you injected HIV in all the soldiers because you were fearful. You said that they are coming from the jungle, they need immunization. So Mbuya Military Hospital was the place in which they injected them HIV. Mr. Museveni, it is you who came with Obote 2. It is you who came with Obote 2. It is you who came with Obote 2. It is you who came with Obote 2 from Tanzania. And you came with that virus. And you came with Dudubitoke. And you came with Faladan. All sorts of biological weapon. It was provided to you by Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania. Then, Mr. Museveni, everything comes to the light. Mr. Museveni, everything comes to the light. Now you are destabilizing Kenya because you know If Kenya has got stability, Uganda will recruit from Kenya and confront you militarily. Now you are destabilizing Kenya. All the despicable deeds being done to Ugandans, they are now in Kenya. You understand? They are some kind of church-like people who incinerate people. We see the disappearance of people is on a rise in Kenya as it is on Uganda for the past 40 years. Now it's in Kenya because of your closeness with Mr. William Ruto. You understand? Mr. William Ruto, whom you sent to secure a loan from the Bank of the People of the Republic of China because China was not giving you money anymore. Mr. Museveni, via Mr. Ruto, you secured the money. The same money you secured from there and the same money via Elias Lukwago. By keeping Kampala, the garbage in Kampala, to create a sympathy in the World Bank, you secured that money through Dolos Chisaka and Elias Lukwago. Now this very same money, according to the information from LBS, this same money you got from Ruto and the same money you got from World Bank. It is the money that you bribed the 400 NRM MPs to pass the bill that is intended to merge Uganda Coffee Development Authority with the Ministry of Agriculture. We know for the fact Teacher Kajubirumbi informed the Ugandans that you gave every single member of parliament of National Robbers Movement 40 million each person on Okisozi farm. Mind you, the people of Africa, that farm, it was a ranch, a government ranch, which was initiated by Idi Amin Dada and Obote. Museveni confiscated all those national properties. Museveni confiscated them. On that ranch, he built a house there. That is where he congregated with all his sycophants, MPs. And he gave each one 40 million of Uganda shillings. Students are dying at Makerere University over anger. Students are dying in Chambogo University over anger. Museveni, you have the guts to bribe people 40 million times 400 people. Mr. Museveni, Mr. Museveni, Mr. Museveni, what is it really? What is it really, old man? What is it? Janet Museveni, what is it? Audrey Krabog, what do you want from us? Why don't you stop killing us? We hear you are congregating with Mr. Kagame's son, Brian Kagame. You were in Uganda because you are fearful. You are planning to initiate a coup d'etat and you are not quite sure. So Kagame's son assured you that we are ready. Just yesterday, Teacher Kajuvirumbiye reminded Ugandans that all those people who have been working in Gorobia there, in Hoima district, where oil is being extracted, and transported via trucks to Tanzania. All Ugandan natives, they were chased out of those work. And buses brought Rwandese. These are the very people who have come as workers, but these are all militants. All these are militants, fellow Ugandans. These are militants who are working. You remember that we received critical information as well that in the Ministry of Health, there are some individuals from Rwanda working as doctors, but they are on a mission to extract Uganda's internal organs illegally. Second, to poison prominent leaders, of which Museveni fears. That is what they do. Now, in those oil exploration fields, they chased away all Ugandan natives. And they deployed people from Rwanda. Mr. Museveni, Rwandese cannot have our knowledge. No. Museveni, that will never be. You cannot have the knowledge Ugandans have. No. Mr. Museveni, if it was possible, you yourself, you wouldn't be as murderous as you are. Having grown on Uganda food, the food we eat that allows us to be rational in thinking, but you are still a murderer. You are still a murderer. Man, still too close to the jungle. You choose jungle method to administer human relations in a digitized era, and you think you will prevail? I pity you, or you Rwandese who are being brought in Uganda, a bubbling country, a country which is bubbling. A country which is bubbling. I don't know what they indoctrinate you with, but we know each other. My brother, you can speak Luganda fluently, but there are some words you will never learn. Even if you were born in Uganda, you will never learn, because those ones, they come from the breast you feed. If your breast, it is not for a native Ugandans, you will never learn that words. So in those times of which we don't want us to go in there, my brother, be careful. Be careful, fellow Africans who are being indoctrinated and brought into Uganda on Museveni's and Mr. Kagame's ideology of taking over Uganda. That is a lie. That is a lie. That is a delusion that will never be fulfilled. It will never be fulfilled. Uganda will remain for Uganda, for people, not for Ugandans alone. No, for people equally. I'm not saying Uganda is for Ugandans. There is no such a thing. What we are saying, we need equal rights. We need the law to supervise the societies. We need the law to supervise the society. Museveni, that's what we need. We don't care. The president of Uganda comes from where? We don't care. If he comes from South Africa, if he meets the criterions, the criterias that a president is ought to have, that person is well qualified to be a president of Uganda, irregardless of their nationality. What we are saying, we need a Uganda that cater for its people. Not Museveni, a man who could not appreciate, who was given a refugee ship, who was fed, who was raised, who was educated. Who was educated. All of you, 27 men, you studied on taxpayers' money. You studied on taxpayers' money. All of you, you studied on taxpayers' money because you were refugees, okay? You were refugees in Uganda. Why are you killing us? Why are you killing our brothers and sisters? Why are you persecuting Zake? Why are you persecuting him? Do you know how many things you have the brutality you have meted on that young man? Mr. Museveni, why don't you give us peace? Or the men, why don't you give us freedom? Why don't you give us freedom? You continue to plot assassination against our leaders. Mr. Museveni, what is it that we did to you? Mr. Museveni, what is it? What is it, man? What is it, old man? What is it? What did your father tell you that Baganda did this to me? That's why I hate them. What did your stepmother told you? That Baganda did this to our family. That's why we persecute them. What is it? What is it? Because we have seen the historical books. We don't see that Buganda slain the Banyarwanda somewhere. We don't see that Ankole slain the Banyarwanda somewhere. We don't see that Basoga slain Banyarwanda somewhere. We don't see that. But all we see is Banyarwanda slaying Ugandans in each and every region, in the 15 regions that constitutes Uganda. There is a victim of Banyarwanda. There is a victim. There is a victim, Mr. Museveni. That is a fact. ASP Asime received that, informed the Ugandans how you killed the people barbarically to instill fear in the people in Chagwe because you had discovered a lot of riches there. You are now constructing a concentration camp and you wanted to relocate the prison to there. And we hear this chiman, Mumukasa, mbidde. Era oli mbidde gwe. Oli mbidde gwe. Toli mukasa. Tosobola kubeera mukasa gwe. Tosobola kubeera mukasa. Tosobola kubeera mukasa gwe kisajja gwe. Ojja advocatinga by'otategeera. Mu government ekole kino omunyalwanda. Oli munyalwanda to claiming otya special recognition in Uganda. Are you out of your fucking mind? Mbu mukasa mbidde. A lawyer my ass. Mr. Mukasa mbidde. Kiki kye mutwagaza bisajja mwe. Bisajja mwe. Biki kye mutwagaza. Kiki kye mutwagaza. Kiki. What is it that you want from us? What is it? What is it? What is it? You have gotten money. Money is the thing we want on the surface of the earth. Right? You have got money. You have got money. Mr. Museveni, we never wanted to persecute you. All the riches you have, we had accepted, and we knew that the moment you leave the public office, Mr. Museveni, we are determined to rebuild our country. And all of you, Mr. Mukasa Mbidde, you are inciting violence. You are inciting genocide. Mr. Mukasa Mbidde, Frank Gashumba, all these individuals, they were born in Uganda. They were raised in Uganda. All of them. But they are insinuating things. They are telling people that they are Rwandese and they have to be recognized in the constitution of Uganda. Yet they were born in Uganda. What makes you think that you are special? Rwandi, what are you popularly known for? That somebody would love to be with you. What are you popularly known for? Mr. Mukasa Mbidde, what are you Rwandese in Uganda known for popularly? There is nothing. You are not in any sphere that you excel. No, nothing. Mr. Mukasa Mbidde, stop inciting violence. Mr. Mukasa Mbidde, you are a lawyer. You are a representative on the East African Parliament. And Museveni pressed you there to block all our petitions. Museveni sent you in the East African Parliament to block all our petitions, as he did in the United Nations. No wonder our petitions are very, very slow to be brought to the table, because Museveni's ex-girlfriend, who happens to be Dr. Kizza Besigye's wife, Winnie Byanyima, she is a representative of Uganda, and he was appointed by Museveni. And Besigye says that an appointee, his wife, is working in the interest of Museveni. How can that this individual Besigye is in the opposition while his wife is protecting Museveni in the United Nations? How is that perceptible to a sane mind? My brothers and sisters, this is the conundrum we are in. We are in, sophisticated as it is, but we are determined to extricate ourselves out of this nonsensical mess, because we are still breathing. We are still breathing, and we are equipped with weapons that are not going to run out of ammunition, because whatever we see, we say it is well justifiable. It is well justified because we have the right, that birthright of being a native Ugandans. Even though I'm propagating this message before my fellow Africans in a foreign land, but I'm striving to go back to the motherland. Mr. Museveni, that is why we speak the love of our country. The love of our country, Mr. Museveni. The love, the identity of being a Muganda, that is inalienable. You cannot take it away from me, Mr. Museveni. Mr. Museveni and all your sycophant, Mr. Mukasa Mbidde. Mr. Mukasa Mbidde, people writing petition to the UN, they don't reach because of that blockage of that woman Byanyima. Museveni appoints envoys to the UN, people not being vetted upon by the parliament. That is why we are out to march to parliament. You understand? The president was given a lot of power. I don't know who represented us in the CA. Anyway, the Katikkiro of Buganda reminded us that they rejected the constitution of 95. They rejected it because they knew exactly that the person who proposed these ones was not a Ugandan. And the agreement was he wanted a village to go to reclaim his Rwandi. You understand? Mr. Museveni, we are not going to let it go. We need our country back. The people of Uganda, let us march to parliament. The people of Uganda, let us march to parliament. Abana bogera salutations. Let us march to the parliament. Parliament is all we have. This is where all the bills that influence our livelihood are being passed from. You can see that Ugandans, we have been arguing these parliamentarians, refrain from that thing. You know, go back to the constituents and mobilize your electorates. That's what they voted you for, okay? To lead them in such tasks, in tough times like these ones. We all quite sure that in parliament, it is besieged for the past 20 years. It was besieged for the past 20 years. For the past 20 years. Mr. Besigye was the leader of opposition. He was leading in the opposition. We did not see the things that are happening to Museveni's regime, no. That leads us to the affirmation that Winnie Byanyima, Dr. Besigye's wife, she is the blockage. Of all our petitions we are sending in the United Nations, Mr. Mukasambide, he is the hindrance in the East African Parliament, whereby the petitions of Ugandans, our complaints, are not being listened to. I don't know who represents in the Pan-African Parliament, who represents Uganda's aspiration. Mr. Museveni is always hiding into Pan-Africanism. But there is no way a Pan-Africans would be slaying Ugandans as Museveni does. No Pan-Africanist can do that. No Pan-Africanist can do that. Mr. Museveni, he is slaying people on Lake Victoria as he please. Mukasambide cannot raise that in the East African Parliament. Yet Lake Victoria connect that body as a whole. You understand? Mr. Museveni petitioned Lake Victoria. All his in-laws are working there. All his cousins are killing Ugandan fishermen as they want. As they want. As they want. As they want. You have to pay to go to do fishing. Museveni, a man who says he does not eat fish, but I don't wonder. You are full of demons. There is no way you can eat fish. You are full of demons. You man, you are full of demons. You man, you are full of demons, Mr. Museveni. But a demon will never prevail because it is afraid of the light. It is afraid of the light. Your demons are in parliament right now, wrecking the entire system. They turned off the lights so that Museveni's demons and Anita Among's demons, having got a portion from Museveni, they can operate upon the just leaders of Ugandans, who are men led by rights and light, contain the Roraine National Unity Platform. Ain't nothing to hide. Those men are just. There's nothing they want to hide. Nothing. Nothing. Mr. Museveni, stop killing our brothers and sisters. This is what we are saying. We are not requesting you. We are telling you the fact. We are telling you the fact, old man, that you are to stop killing Ugandans. We are not going to stop talking. We shall talk. We shall talk, Mr. Museveni. We shall talk. We shall talk. Because the Constitution gives us that mandate. Article 1. Power belongs to the people. No organization or a president could take away that from the people of the Republic of Uganda, the people of the world. Mr. Museveni and his son, they are planning to recapture power again by a muzzle of a gun. Okay, they are soliciting fundings. They are bringing soldiers camouflaged as individuals into Uganda from Rwanda. We see buses coming in. They can see the situation is getting darker and darker. So they bringing people from Rwanda, from Congo. The Rwandese who are being chased out of Congo, they are coming into Uganda to wreak havoc. Fellow Ugandans, when Frank Gasumba said that Uganda needs M23 because we are discriminating against Rwandese, he meant exactly that. Brothers and sisters, you saw that Mr. Bujungo Church was relocated. All the congregants in Mr. Bujungo's church, mind you, these are M23 militants. They are well trained. When you see them dancing in the mud, my brother, do not despise them that they don't know what they do. They are full aware and they are on a deadly mission. Have you ever wondered who are these people who are attacking people with machete? Who are cutting people with no remorse, with no, humanity whatsoever? These are well indoctrinated M23 camouflaging into a church. Into a church. These are militants. You all remember Kanungu, Chiwetere. Those were indigenous Ugandans whom Museveni ambushed during Kisangani 1, Kisangani 2, Kisangani 3. And they wanted to lessen the population of armed Ugandans. The population of native Ugandans were armed into the UPDF. They did that effectively. They did that effectively by sending Rutankome Kaira's army in the north. And they did away with that. They created a war in the northern Uganda to encamp all northerners. They did that. To encamp all northerners. They did that. We received critical information that Museveni, you used to kill people. One of your kadogos, the young men you used to use, and you dumped them. He came out on national TV, on a public domain, and he said that during the Royal War, Mr. Museveni, you were walking and you went into a family, you found a wife gone to fetch water. A man narrates that a mother had gone to fetch water and left the baby in the house. When Museveni and his men came and they found this baby, and the lady was cooking a saucepan of porridge. So Museveni and his men, Museveni ordered this child to be submerged into a bubbling porridge. This is Museveni. This is Museveni. This is Museveni we're talking about. This is Museveni we are talking about. Museveni, he came out and castigated that our spiritual leaders are devil worshippers. That when he came, they told him that your war is not going this and this. He's trying to play a reverse psychology. But Teacher Kajubi Rumbuye had informed that prior to Museveni's coming and tell us. That is a gaffe. Rumbuye had told us for years that Museveni, you killed a woman and you turned her upside down and you buried that woman to make the people of Uganda numb. not to say anything about you. Mr. Museveni, there is no thief can surpass 40 days. No, you can't surpass 40 days. You cannot surpass 40 days while stealing. No, Mr. Museveni, 40 days, that is impossible. Mr. Museveni, you are 38 years in stealing Uganda's power. Mr. Museveni, you should understand when event stands. Mr. Museveni, you are a devil worshipper. You were speaking reverse psychology, that Catholic Church and its priests are devil worshippers. We know exactly you are using outdated propaganda. Propaganda that is outdated. Outdated. We know the Catholic Church. We know our faith. We know how we are reared. We don't give a fuck what happened before its establishment. What we say, the pros of being a Catholic outweighs the cons of being a Catholic. Thus, we are steadfast in our faith. Whatever you say, Museveni, we know you don't have any moral authority to speak about faith. After all, you are an atheist. Not an atheist, you are a devil worshipper. You are a devil worshipper. Mr. Museveni, Mr. Museveni, whatever you did, people there know exactly what we are waiting. Mr. Museveni, 27 of you, whether you kill who or kill who, information is there. Mr. Museveni, this is the digitized era. The misgivings that you have encountered and you never calculated them. Oh, philosophy reminded us that the past cannot be regarded without regrets. Nor the future can be faced without misgivings. The misgiving part, it is what I capitalize on. You never calculated the internet or the wicked man because you didn't know anything. You never knew that people will be vibrating digitally. Mr. Museveni, the past cannot be regarded without regret. To look at the past cannot be regarded without regrets. Look at Abdul Natuli Mzee. Look at him. Is he not regretting? Look at Ssaabasajja Kabaka, whom you solicited and you put him into nonsensical agreements. Look at him. Isn't he not regretting? Ask every single Ugandan, from the north to the east, from the south to the west. Ask every single one if they are not regretting of knowing a name called Museveni, of knowing a name called Janet, of knowing a name called Mukos, of knowing a name, knowing all of those people, 27, count them. They have an ideology. It will never change, my brothers and sisters. It will never change because all of them, they have killed people recklessly and they know that those cases are on pending. They know all of them. All of them, they know. All of them, they know very well they have committed despicable deeds. Brothers and sisters, honor the dead, not the end of war. Brothers and sisters, the war is in the parliament. The war, it is in the parliament. Brothers and sisters, fellow Ugandans, let us march to the parliament. We are marching to the parliament to reclaim the human dignity that was enshrined in the constitution, and most importantly, it was granted to us by God's immutable law, the one who regulates the breath of life that sustains our being on the surface of the earth under the sun. Mr. Museveni, deceive ye not, this is a Uganda we are looking forward to attain. It is attainable, fellow Ugandans. Do not be intimidated by all Museveni's brutality. If you are meant to die in the struggle, my brother, so be it, because we are going into purgatory to be judged. In the purgatory, that's where it is determined whether you are reincarnated as up or you go to serve. Brothers and sisters, do not be afraid. All the people Museveni killed, God reincarnated them and they are growing right now in Uganda with an assignment. With an assignment to take on Museveni sycophants. With an assignment. Mr. Museveni, you're killing for nothing. For nothing. You are killing for nothing. Because the mystery of creation, the Balsbo you serve doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything. Satanel you are serving, he doesn't know anything. Mr. Museveni, you cannot destroy a life. Mr. Museveni, if you want to understand what I'm saying, you just go outside there in your whole house and cut a small leaf. Just pinch it, nip it off. If you don't see another one coming out. You think the life of a plant differ from mine? No, it doesn't. After all, the plant sustains mine. How comes that mine is superior to the plant? No. They intake oxygen as I do. They exhale as I do. Mr. Museveni, you have no right to restrain a soul. You have no right to restrain a spirit. You have no right to restrain a mind. Mr. Museveni, we are fighting for freedom. We shall die fighting for freedom. Because God, Heavenly Father, is with us. We are demanding the unconditional release of all political prisoners. We are demanding the unconditional release of all political prisoners. Museveni, leave our country alone. Leave our country alone. Leave our country alone. Stop plotting to assassinate our leaders. Fellow Africans, Museveni said that he is planning to carry out a coup d'etat. In that coup d'etat, he is planning to assassinate all prominent leaders because he says that the US will be struggling with its election. And the Britain and the other countries, influential countries in the West, will be their eye or their concentration. It is between Iran and Israel. You understand? Meaning that Mr. Museveni cannot say that South Africa will restrain me when I'm slaying Ugandans. He cannot say that Egypt will restrain me when I'm slaying Ugandans. He cannot say that Ethiopia will intervene when I'm slaying Ugandans. He cannot say that Tanzania will intervene when I'm slaying Ugandans. He cannot say that Nigeria will intervene when I'm killing Ugandans. No, he says that he is afraid of America and Britain. That's all. He is afraid of America and Britain. That's all. You can see how cynical these people are. They do not respect our flesh. They do not respect who we are. They kill as they please. Mr. Museveni, you are a shame. You are a disgrace to the people that you bore yourself. You are a disgrace. You wouldn't have indoctrinated Muhoozi Kainerugaba. You know, pathetic as he is. You wouldn't have indoctrinated him. Mr. Museveni, Uganda, it is not your inheritance. May the Lord be with us, brothers and sisters. Heavenly Father, thank you for protecting our leaders in National Unity Platform, men of goodwill. Heavenly Father, thank you for providing the light in their mental faculty, for they vibrate frequencies which are positively charged. Heavenly Father, His Excellency in His message to the people of Uganda, he said that, fellow Ugandans, you love me and you praise. You don't praise me, you love me because you always hail me when I come. But I put you on the test. You mean, am I perfect in all that I do? Why don't you tell me something wrong? And he said that, okay, if you cannot tell it to me, please do not emulate anything negative from me. Whatever virtue you see in me, emulate. Any vice you see in me, detest. Detest. Any vice you see in me, detest it. But emulate each and every virtue you see in me. brothers and sisters, you can see a leader who is not hypocritical in his thinking. It is Museveni who is a hypocrite, who said on the steps of parliament that it is hard for him to preside over the affair of the country whereby a citizen get lost without a trace. I recited 18 missing persons. We are in November, whereby hundreds of innocent Ugandans were slain because they were protesting. As we speak right now, the same old man, he is plotting to slay people in national parks. As we speak right now, he is plotting to kill prominent leaders. As we speak right now, through his sycophants, he is plotting to kill other prominent leaders in Tanzania and Kenya. As we speak right now, he is plotting to kill prominent leaders in National Unity Platform. He is targeting His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He is targeting Joel Ssenyonyi. He is targeting the Secretary General David Louis Rubongoya. He is targeting the Deputy Spokesperson, our civic educator Sir Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro. He is targeting Zake Butebi Francis, the one they have attempted. Good enough, I've seen him, he's online right now addressing Ugandans. The people of the world, Museveni is planning more carnage in Uganda. Museveni, he is carrying out genocides in Uganda, Upper region, Buganda region. There is ongoing genocide. Museveni, he is carrying out a genocide in Uganda. Global citizens, African brothers and sisters, African brothers and sisters, African brothers and sisters, Museveni, he is killing innocent people. African brothers and sisters, Museveni is killing innocent people because of his lustness to power. Because of his lustness to power. Let me ask this question. African Union or United Nations, why is it that you can collect money to facilitate refugees in the world, right? You collect refugees and you put them somewhere. But the root cause of the influx or the root cause of this immigration, it is known to you, but you are reluctant to address it. Are you waiting for second phase of a genocide like that in Rwanda? Does that make you happy? Oh, you need to be more busy. Let's leave the United Nations controlled by the white people. I'm talking about African Union in the sense of blackness, brotherhoodness. What is it that you are waiting to see in Uganda before you respond? I'm just asking like a stupid motherfucker. I'm just asking. I don't know nothing about policy. I don't know nothing about anything when it comes to leadership. But I'm rational enough to understand that no man in the higher position of leadership must impose his dictates to the people. Is it too hard for the African countries to render sanctions on these individuals as the Europeans are doing? Is it unethical? Is it degrading to sanction these leaders who are being complained against? Where are the vacuums?